In this video, you guys are going to be making your very first NFT collection on the Solana blockchain. Not only that, but these NFTs, you can use your own custom images and your own personal attributes, and it's going to be made simple because you're going to be using Solana Candy Machine. From there, I'll show you guys how to price your NFTs and when do you want them to be revealed if you want a delayed reveal. And you'll also get this sick front end where I'll show you guys how to make the mint functionality. So that means users can buy the real NFTs that you're creating. And again, as a disclaimer, we're going to be using Solana Monkey Business as practice, right? These aren't real Solana Monkey Business NFTs. So be sure to make your very own, and let's get started. All right, so this is the app that we're going to be building today. It is a real NFT collection with 3 items, right? And it's pretty simple. All you have to do is connect your Phantom wallet and make sure you have some Solana. And the process, I already bought all the NFTs for this collection, but all you have to do is click this button and it's conditionally rendered so that it's gonna say mint. But when it's sold out, it will change to sold out and it'll update, the minted items and the cost is 0. And let's show you guys that this is a real NFT, because if I go to my collection, look at that, I have a Solana Monkey Business 1001. It's the one right here, as you can see. And again, just a disclaimer, this isn't a real Solana Monkey Business NFT right over here, but this just to showcase that you can make whatever NFTs that you want. So let me show you how to get started, and let's go. Awesome. So how do you get started with our app? We have something that's going to make it super simple for you guys. All you have to do is type in npx at Clever Programmer. And for you, make sure you say at latest so that you have the latest version with all the builds that are up to date. So go ahead and hit enter, and you should see something like enter your email address, which I'll do right here. Your name, I'll put Lance Delotto. And what project would you like to initialize? So we have tons of projects that you guys can do and get started and add to your own portfolio, right? But what we're gonna do today is, of course, the Solana NFT drop. So hit Solana NFT drop, hit enter, and wait just a moment because it might take a while to run some scripts. And once it's done, it's gonna open a new VS Code for you, and I'll jump right in when that's done. All right, so at this point, you should have your repo downloaded using our CLI tool, and you should see all these files here. These are your starter files. What you need to do next is we need to sign up for QuickNote. So go ahead and open your browser like so, and click on the link in the description to get your free account. Awesome. So if you don't know, QuickNote is a blockchain development platform that gives us things like an RPC endpoint, which helps us connect directly to the Solana blockchain. So let's go ahead and create a free account by clicking this button. And once you do that and verify your email, you should see something like this screen right here. So let's make that bigger. You know what, just for you guys, I'll even archive my old endpoint. I understand the consequences, archive endpoint, to make it sure that you guys see the same screen. So after you verify your email, you should see start by creating an endpoint. Go ahead and click that. And as you can see, there's multiple different chains that QuickNote supports, from Ethereum to Polygon to Bitcoin. And what we want to do is Solana right here, as you can see. So click on Solana. And another key thing that you should note is that there's 3 different networks that we can work on with Solana. It's the mainnet, which is the real deal. This is real money that you're using, real SOL. There's the testnet, and then there's the devnet. As you can guess, we're probably going to use the devnet. So let's click on devnet, hit continue on the bottom right here. And once you do that, you're gonna see some add-ons, NFT fetch tool, or across NFT mint API. We don't need that today. Let's go ahead and click create endpoint. Once that's done, you should see a screen like this. What we need to care about is this HTTP provider. So go ahead and click this copy button and don't copy anything else. But if you lose it, we'll come back to it. Awesome. So that's how you sign up for QuickNote. Okay, so the very next thing we're gonna need to do is we need to get set up with our Solana wallet. So if you've done Ethereum projects before, you guys probably use MetaMask. The equivalent that we're using today is something called Phantom Wallet. So Phantom is our wallet of choice. As if I click on this tab right here, you can see me open the wallet. So if you already have Phantom, skip ahead a little bit in the video to see what the next step is. If you don't have Phantom, all you need to do is go to a new tab and just say Phantom Chrome extension, right? So I'm using Google Chrome, and if you click on this, go ahead and click download here. It says remove from Chrome because I already have it. So click download and make sure you save your mnemonic and don't share that with anybody, by the way, and make sure you create your wallet. Another thing that you're probably going to have to do is click on Phantom. Go ahead and click on, not that, right here, the icon. And if you scroll, we can go to developer settings and change the network to DevNet. Because remember, we're working on the DevNet, guys. So make sure you click the DevNet button and use that network. So once that's done, you're all set up with Phantom and we're good to go. So let me X this out. Awesome. So with that said, I don't think we ever checked out the CLI starter file. So go ahead and switch tabs to your VS Code and we can do and make this a lot smaller. And you know what? Let's bring this guy on the side so we can see him too. Okay. And there we go. Cool. So what you want to do is press Command J or Control J if you're on Windows, and you should be on the CLI starter branch of this repo. And all you have to do is say yarn to make sure you install all the modules, which you should already have, and just do yarn dev. Once you do yarn dev, we should be able to type in localhost 3000, and let's see what this looks like. Boom. Okay, there's our app. Right, cool. And there's two modes. If you go like this, you can see that it's not Solana monkey business, right? We got crabs. We have crabs instead of monkeys. Our goal today is to show you guys how to make your very own NFT drop and fix these crabs and turn them into Solana monkey business NFTs. And remember, they're not real Solana monkey business NFTs. They're just used to showcase how to do that. So you guys ready? Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so one of the first things you're gonna notice is this connect wallet button, right? It doesn't work, right? We need to make use of our Phantom wallet and connect this exact wallet, right? If you look at this, it says 8TKZ. I should see that right here if you guys remember the demo. So what I'm gonna do now is show you guys how to set up your Phantom wallet. So the first thing we're gonna need to do is let's understand how our app works. So we can go over to my handy dandy whiteboard and let's understand how React components work. So you can imagine components or your HTML or your divs as a parent-child relationship. So what I mean by parent-child relationship is if you open up Pages, you go to app.js, this is your exact NFT app, right? Just completely blank. This is what represents it right here, okay? This is app.js. And let me fix this for a second for you guys. Boop, okay? And what I wanna do is show you guys and represent that app like so. And if you already understand how to do this, feel free to skip ahead a little bit. It's where I start making the wallet connection. But the first thing you're gonna have to do is understand that the parent is this app.js component right here. Okay, cool. So once you understand that, you can see that it's returning component. But what's this, right? This component is actually your index.js, right? And then your index.js, right, which you're calling home, is returning something called main. So what do you think would happen, right? So the child of app, oops, put it back. The child of app is actually a component called index.js, right? And index is returning main, right? Oops, keep doing that. So it's returning main. So let's put that here as well. So it's returning main. And what is main then? So what would happen if I comment out main? So am I still running this? If I do this, save, boom, we lost main, right? It's gonna fail to compile because this entire page that we're seeing right here is the main component. So let's go to the main component then. Okay, cool. So now I see familiar HTML React components that look and make sense, right? So let's say we have something called header here. Let's go ahead and comment that out. As you can see, header is gone, right? And also the connect wallet button. So keep that in mind, right? We remove the header, it's gone. We lost the connect wallet button. So we place it back, it's there. So how many children does the main.js have? Right? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6 components as its child, right? So we're only gonna draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we're gonna draw 1, 2, 2 of them, right? So the main things that you want to know or look at is, is this arrow and this arrow, because this left arrow is going to be the header component, and this right arrow is going to represent the NFT display, right? Why am I showing you this? Well, because since you didn't build this from scratch, you might not know where everything is. So if I asked you guys, where the hell can I edit this connect wallet button? Which component am I going to look? The NFT display, or am I going to look in the header? 3, 2, 1. Good job. You said header. I'm sure you said header, right? So if you said header, that means we have to look in here because this holds the connect wallet button. So if you understand that, we should be good to go. Awesome. So now that you understand the parent-child relationship of our current app, or you just skipped ahead because you're a freaking genius, let's figure out where to work on the connect wallet button. So the first thing we're going to need to do is head over to your index.js. Okay, and once you're in your index.js, we need to import a couple of things because we're going to use our endpoint, right, to have our wallet connect to the blockchain, right? So first we need to add and provide a couple of things for this index. Let's provide those providers. So the first thing we're going to do is import. Yeah, so come up to the top here and we can go ahead and import all of that stuff under here. So we can say import. This one's going to be called connection provider, right? And you're going to get it from Solana Wallet Adapter React. This is a module or a package that you should already have if you use our CLI tool to do this, right? So if you look at our package.json, there it is, at Solana Wallet Adapter React, right? All the modules that you need for this app should be downloaded if you did the CLI tool, which is why it's great. So coming back to this, and you know what? We can go ahead and save. And let's just zoom in so you can see that better. How's that, guys? Awesome. Maybe we'll go back up one. Cool. So we got the connection provider, and we also need another provider, and this one's going to be called the wallet provider, right? Because we also got to provide the wallets with our connection. Awesome. So the next thing we want to add is the wallet modal provider. If you ever saw me click on the Phantom wallet button right here, or the connect wallet button, little modal comes up with all the available wallets, right? Isn't that cool? Right? They give that for you. So if you don't want to make that yourself, save you some time by saying wallet modal provider. Okay? And I'm going to press tab because you're going to get this from Solana Wallet Adapter React UI, right? Not just React UI. Cool. So that's the modal provider. And now the fun part is you need to import what wallets are you using, right? So what wallet are we using, guys? Did you forget? It is Phantom Wallet Adapter, right? So there's a couple different other wallets, but we're using Phantom. So whatever wallet you use, add them right here. So Solflare, whatever you like. So from here, just say Solana Wallet Adapter Wallets, right? Because that's from that package. And then from there, we can get some CSS. Because remember how you saw it's that nice blue color, right? We can give it the CSS you need. You don't have to style the button. If you just do import quotes at Solana Wallet Adapter React UI slash styles.css, I believe. And I'll show you what happens if you don't have this. So cool. Once that's done, you should have everything you need for the connection of the wallet right here. So the next thing we're gonna need to do is we need to set a couple states. So let's set up this state. It's called mounted. So if you ever use the use state hook, we're going to be using that now. So we're going to set it up, use state like so, and our state is going to be called mounted and set mounted. All right, cool. And then from there, we can set the default state, which you can put right here, false. Okay, so if I were to console log mounted, it would actually be false because this is the initial state right here. If you want it to start at 0, start at 0 like this. Make sense? Cool. That's our quick refresher. So we have console log mounted. What we need to do next is let's set up our wallets. So we can set up all the wallets we have here by making a variable called wallets, right? Technically, we only have one, but this is how I want to set it up so that you can add whatever you want. So you can say const wallets equals use memo, right? So use memo is kind of like use effect, and it's only going to return once without re-rendering the whole page. So that's why we're using it. And what we can do is set up an anonymous function like so. And this can be an array. And in this array, you're gonna put all the wallet adapters you want. So let's put Phantom. We can say new Phantom wallet adapter, parentheses like so, and comma, and put this empty module right here. And then from there, that's it. We set up our wallets. All right, we're gonna use this in a second. The next thing we need to set up is we need to set up this use effect to fix that SSR error with Next.js. So in order to fix SSR error with Next, right? So this one's not really related to Solana. Just make sure that you have this to remove any of those weird errors. So let's just write a use effect and set up an empty anonymous function there. And inside here, all we're gonna do is just set mounted to true, right? And here, comma, empty module, right? So if you didn't use use effect is gonna run at 3 different points in the component's lifecycle. When it first load the page, bam, use effect is running this command, okay? When the component updates, right? So if anything changes, I click a button or mint, it's gonna run it again, right? Set mounted true. And when you remove a component or delete a component, set mounted true. That's when this use effect runs. But here's the catch, right? If you do this empty module here without putting anything in, it's just gonna run once. So we only want this to happen once. Cool. So after that's done, we can go ahead and put in all of the providers we have on this page. So we have a couple providers. The first thing we want to do is add a connection provider like so. And what we could do, take that main and sandwich him in between like so. Okay, cool. So we added our connection. We're not done yet though. We should add our wallet provider. So let's add a wallet provider as well. And if you're wondering, if you're lost, you're like, Lance, what are you doing? It's all coming from here. We set up all the imports already. So don't stress, we got this. So put in the wallet provider. Let's put in the main inside as well. Cool. So we got that. And last but not least, we need to get this guy in here, the modal itself. So let's type in the wallet modal provider, and you can put that inside here. Wallet modal provider, boom. And of course, we're gonna bring main inside there. Cool. So it should look something like this. Take a moment, pause if you need to, go back if you're lost, but I'm gonna keep it going, guys. So the first thing that we need to do is I saved, and you can see we need to put an endpoint, right? So let's add our endpoint or our connection. So if you press Command B or Control B, the key thing here is our constant. So click on constants.js and you'll see your RPC endpoint here. So this is what we're going to use. So we're going to use our RPC endpoint. Go ahead and click. Remember that thing you copied? We're going back to that. I'm going to hit copy again. But if you have it saved still, go ahead and replace this Metaplex DevNet to your unique endpoint, like so. Mine's called Empty White Friday. Not sure what that means, but that's my endpoint. Okay, so I'm gonna save that. And you're gonna still see this error because now we have to provide that endpoint, right? I'm doing this on purpose so you could see that. What you need to do is that this takes in some props. You can call it endpoint and set it equal to the RPC endpoint, right? So look closely, we're exporting this. So you can actually just import that. So if you look, we're already importing it right here. So I set it up. Thank me later. All right, can I get a thank you, Lance? Awesome, thank you. All right, so like I was saying, we can put RPC endpoint here, and this is our direct link. And now we have a different error, which is good. So now I can't read properties of undefined reading filter. Oh, another thing that we need to do, this is just best practice. In config, put equals object and say commitment confirmed. Just our pre-flight checks is what we could call it. So hit save, and then we still got the error because what we need to do is in our wallet provider, let's go ahead and put in all the wallets. So we can say wallets equals this. It's gonna take in all of the wallet adapters. So let's say wallets. Okay. Another cool thing to have is something called auto connect, because if you already have your Phantom connected, it will automatically connect, right? It's kind of obvious, right? Thanks, Lance. So let's go ahead and keep moving. we're going to do the wallet modal provider. And another key thing that we want to do here is writing some conditional rendering. So if we can say mounted, right, which is our state, which should be true, and main, like so, like this, boom. Okay, so when mounted and main component exists, you know, we can load it. Cool. So we're going to save. Boom, no more errors, right? So now you shouldn't see the screen. I hope you were able to understand that, because that is the index.js part. Now, the easy part. How can we turn this button to the nice, lovely phantom connection button that we saw? So press Control B, and let's head over to the component that holds this. So quick question. Where can I find the connect wallet button? 3, 2, 1. Nice job. You said header. So let's go to header, index.js of the header. And you can see, right, all the stuff here, the styling. You don't have to get overwhelmed, right? Let's scroll down, look at some comments, and look at this. The wallet connect button goes here. So what you need to do is go to the top and say import wallet multi button right here. You can see the suggestion, click it, and it's gonna auto import it for you, wallet multi button from Solana wallet adapter React UI. Hit save, and let's remove this hideous button, right? And replace it with the component of the wallet multi button, like so. Hit save. What did I tell you guys? Look at that. You see this right here? Let's maximize this, and let's zoom in as well. Boom, right? You see this connect button? Let's click on it. Auto connected, right? Because I already have my wallet. I can disconnect, right? I can go to a different wallet, right? Look how easy that was. So this one is 4AU, connect, 4AU. There we go. So let's just disconnect it, and I'm gonna go back to my normal wallet. But I hope you guys liked that and understand how to connect your wallet to your front-end application. So on to the contract. Okay, so now for the moment that you've been waiting for. If you click this video, you wanna learn how to make your own NFT drop on the Solana blockchain, right? So what we need to do is let's go ahead and make a new tab, and we're gonna head over to beta.solpg.io. So click on this, and you should see this screen right here. So if you don't know, SolPG is Solana Playground. It lets you create smart contracts, build, deploy, and even test all of these programs from right here. And now, guess what? They have Solana NFT support. They support Metaplex. So that's what we're going to be using. Metaplex is what helps us create all these NFTs a lot easier, and we're going to use their tool called Candy Machine. So the first thing you're going to need to do is click on this plus icon right here. Click, and the project name, you can call it, I don't know, NFT-drop, and you can click on Anchor Rust. So also you can see that there's now Python support for Solana. So if you want to see our other video on that, it should be in the link on the recommended browser. Go ahead and search for it. Anyways, we're clicking Anchor Rust right now. So click on that, hit create. Oh, already exists. We can do NFT Solana and then hit create. Boom. So you should see something like this, still the same. What we need to do now is go into the CLI tool right here, right? Bring it back up and just write Solana, or sorry, Sugar create dash config. This is the very first step. It's going to use something called Sugar and create the config for our app. Boom. Okay. So now you're going to see a couple of different questions. How many NFTs will you have in your Candy Machine? You can just do 3, put as many as you want. I'm going to put 3. What is the symbol of your collection? So this is like the abbreviation of your NFT collection. Like I said, we're making the Solana Monkey business clone. So our symbol is SMB. Seller fee basis points. This is basically the fee that you have, how much percentage you get after you mint the NFT. So say you mint an NFT, then you sell it, how much percentage does the owner get? You can set it up like so. So if I write 500 times this by the percentage times 100, you get this. So this is technically 5%. So we can say that. Do you want to use sequential mint index? We can say no. How many creator wallets you have? So let's say you can have 4 people that you made this NFT drop with. You can put all the wallets here. I only have one, it's just me. So let's just do 1. And now the creator wallet address 1. So now you can take this wallet address from Solana Playground and paste that in there like so. Cool. So how much percentage does each creator get? Like somebody is the artist, maybe you want to give them a share, they can get 50 and then you get 50, right? But it must, all the shares must add up to 100. So since we're the only creator, we're going to do 100. And you can leave this empty, hit enter. And do you want your NFTs to remain mutable, meaning that they can change? You can say yes. All right, and bam, look at that. So now this thing should pop up other Metaplex, Candy Machine, config.json. Cool, and this is what we should see right now. The next step that we need to do is we need to upload our assets to our Candy Machine. So we can do sugar upload, and we should see this here. So if you already have your assets set up, go ahead and drop those files. If you don't, let me show you guys how to make your very own assets. All right, so you want to learn how to create your own assets for your NFT drop. All you have to do is this, right? What we need to do is, if you're ever lost at all, go ahead and search up the Metaplex documentation, right? They already wrote a nice guide for you guys. It's basically everything I'm talking about, but in a little bit more detail and in written form, right? So we've already created a config. What we need to look at is this one. It's called preparing your assets. And what you need to know is that you need a PNG file and a .json file, and these two have to like map together, right? Let me show you what I mean. So I actually provided you with that JSON file. So if I make this just a little bit bigger, Command B, you can see this assets folder right here, right? Click on it, click on 0.json, and there you go. We have Studious Crab number 1 is the name. And if you scroll down right here, the URI is the 0.png, right? That's the image. Also shows 0.png as the image as well. And what's the 0.png land? It's this Studious Crab right here. And that's also what's being rendered on the app, Studious Crab, yeah? So the easy part for you is that we just have to edit this JSON file before we update it, yeah? Okay, so if that makes sense, this is what we're gonna be doing next. So what you need to know is if you want your own sample collection, if you scroll to the bottom, click on this right here, it'll give you a sample JSON file with all the assets, just like what I gave you. But since you already have it, let's keep it going. So it's easy enough. We just need the PNG files and the information. If you don't want to make a Solana Monkey Business clone, go ahead and customize it with your very own assets. All right, so let's go to Solana Monkey Business, okay? And we can go to OpenSea or Magic Eden. Let's go to OpenSea. And look at this. These are all the SMB NFTs. We can do something really cool. We can go from price high to low. All right, so this is from highest price of Solana to lowest price. So let's go ahead and click on this guy with the backwards hat. This is SMB number 10. And we can actually do a side-by-side here. So let's do this. Control B. How are we doing? Awesome. So all we have to do is click copy SMB number 10 and replace this right here. All right, so that's the name. And remember that symbol that we did at the beginning when we created the config? Make sure it's the exact same or else you get an error. So do SMB, and the description here, you can customize it. I just like to do this on the Solana blockchain. Copy that. And that is your description. Okay, make it whatever you want. Image should be the same name except .png, which we'll update later. The next thing you should see here is attributes. These are the attributes of your NFT. So let's look at the attributes of this Studious Crab, right? Accessory, lamp, trait type, chair, red, books, blue, right? What we want to copy is these, right? Each NFT can have their own properties. And depending on the trait, it might be more rare. And that is what gives it the value. So if you look, this one is the, what's it called? The ears is none. 79% of these Solana Monkey Business clones, NFTs, have this trait. So it's common. Let's see a non-common, right? Purple backwards hat, right? That's not common. That's only 7%, or 3% actually, that have the hat. So that's how you know that this one is really expensive. So what we could do is change those trait types, right? So if we do trait type, we can say hat, and then we could see if the value of, I believe it's purple backwards. Does it show me? Purple backwards? purple backwards cap. That's the name. So let's type that, purple backwards cap. Okay, and then we can do other stuff like type. The type is purple. All right, it's a purple monkey. And let's see, clothes. Let's do these three. And this is green smoking, apparently. Green smoking. Okay, cool. And the properties, you keep that the same, right? Because it's going to be a PNG file. Hit save. And now, if you look, this is our new 0.json, but the image is still the crab, right? We want to use our image. So this is the part where you get your own image, or you copy this image right here. And again, not the real Solana Monkey business. This is technically a clone to show you guys how to use it. So go ahead, and to get the PNG version of this image, I'm going to copy image address, and I'm going to, actually, no, we can actually paste it or open image in a new tab. It's easier. And you're going to see, if you save this, it's not going to be the right format. So under format right here, change this to PNG, right? And hit enter. There might be other ways to do this, but if I hit save image as, you're going to see that it's a PNG image, right? So you're going to see the other ones that we have here. Go ahead and click the 0 one, because if you hit save, we want to replace that Studious Crab, right? So hit save, X this out, and if you look on here, click 0 PNG, no more Studious Crab. We have Solana Monkey Business number 10. Right, cool. And with all the properties as well. So going back to this, let's click capital P, purple. Let's do this for the next two items. But if you get this idea, go ahead and customize this to how you want. Skip ahead if you understand this, or just follow along, see how we do. Okay, so next one, we want to get 1.json, the second NFT, the Studious Crab number 2. We don't want the Studious Crab, we want another one. Let's get this guy with the headphones. This looks cool. So this is SMB number 1001. So I'm going to erase this, and wablam, SMB 1001. Description, I can copy this. Nope. Copy this, paste, save, and image to keep this the same. And now for the traits. We believe we did hat, right? Hat, and they have pink headset. Pink headset, save. And accessory, we didn't have that. We had, I think we did type. Yep, type. We did just dark monkey. And then for the clothes, they actually have none. So clothes, none. This monkey has no clothes. So save that, and there you go. So now we can do this. Open image in new tab. We want to go to the format and change this to PNG. If you have another way of getting the PNG version, just feel free to do that. If I do save image as here, click on one, save, boom. Cool, so we have that saved. You can double check by looking at the 1.png. There we go, monkey headphones. And now we can go to 2.json, or our third SMB. I'm gonna hit back on this. And let's do, which one do you guys want to do? Let's do Mohawk Monkey. Okay, cool. So, oh, it's actually the next one over. This is 1002. So let's go ahead and click 1002. Oh, and don't forget to change the symbol. Like I said, SMB on 1.json, SMB on 2.json. Okay, awesome. Now, description. We know the drill by now. Paste, save. And now the types. We did hat. The hat on this is red punk hair. That's what it's called. Red punk hair. Yeah, so cool. And then we did type. Type is purple, another purple monkey. And clothes. This one is beige smoking. Beige smoking. So hit save. Let's get this image. Format. PNG. Save image as. 2, and hit save. Cool. And if you didn't know, I'm actually saving it to this file directly, to this folder directly. So if I click on this, you'll see that it's already there. So I don't have to move stuff around, right? It might not end up in your folder. Go ahead and take all the ones you downloaded and move it to this assets folder. You got it? Cool. The next thing you're gonna notice is the collection.json, right? So there needs to be another file for the collection itself, right? So if you look, the collection.png, it says numbers collection. We want the Solana Monkey Business logo right here. So here, let's edit that JSON file. And if you look, it says crab collection. It should just be SMB. Make sure it has the same symbol. We can go back here and copy that description. And for this collection.png, no attributes, but the properties and files should be like so. Now I gotta get the image. So I think we can get the Solana Monkey Business logo. If I go here and save this one right here, this could be our collection logo. Or you could use whatever you want as long as it represents the collection, and I'll keep it the same name, hit save. And if I look, bam, that's our collection item. So this is the collection itself, the item, and inside this collection is all of these NFTs, right? So that's why you need to have this JSON file. So keep that in mind. Awesome. So now that we have all of that, let's go ahead and get that folder. So we can go to File. We can go to all of our projects. I believe mine is in here. Go to the assets, and we could just copy all of this, go to wherever your folder is, and drag it over here and upload those assets. All right, so I'm imported 8 files. So if you did 3 NFTs, there should be a 4th one, which is your collection. And since there's a JSON for every PNG, you should have 8. So think about how much you have, double it, that's how much files you should have. So hit continue, and it should be uploading. And if you didn't know, all these images are getting uploaded to Arweave. If you don't know what Arweave is, it is a decentralized storage network, right? If you don't know, let's go to my handy dandy notebook. Right, you can think of the Solana blockchain, whoops, as this block right here, right? This giant Solana blockchain, right? This, what's it called? Candy machine. It lives on the blockchain. So this is our candy machine, right? Imagine if I had like 12 NFTs with pictures and everything and putting it on this chain, right? So this is my pictures, the NFT, the metadata, right? Every time you add something to the Solana blockchain, you have to pay for the space that's there, right? You're gonna pay what we call like rent, right? And if you put actual images, which can be very big, very small, right? It's gonna take up a lot of space and it's gonna be very expensive. So what we do instead is we store, right? This is your NFT, and we store what we call a reference to your image, right? A reference, a pointer to the image, right? The NFT image itself, right? And that pointer is going to point us to Arweave, which is its own decentralized storage network, which has the image. Okay, so what we're doing here in the Solana Playground is we're uploading all those files, metadata, images to Arweave, and that's what we're referencing later. And you can see it in the config in a second. So if this is successful uploading, we can look at the cache.json over here. Click on that, and you can see there's an image hash, there's an image link, and it goes directly to Arweave itself, right? I can click on this, and you can see this is arweave.net, and it's gonna take me here, and it should load a JSON file or the image itself. So this is where it lives on Arweave, which is actually on the chain, okay, of Arweave. Cool, and it's referenced here. So notice how the image itself isn't in the candy machine. That's one thing to note. But if you look, all the information we have is here, right? The one thing we're missing is that our candy machine doesn't exist on the Solana blockchain yet. Technically, it's right here. It's in limbo. It's in SolPG still, right? So what we need to do is come back here and go ahead and do sugar deploy. All right, so now it's going to create our collection of NFTs and deploy it onto the Solana blockchain. So visually speaking, we just technically did this, put it on the Solana blockchain. Okay, so you can see the deployment was successful. If you ran into any errors at all, it's probably your file. So maybe you forgot, check if you have the right symbols for each of the NFTs, and remember to have your collection. Notice how it's -1 on this one. Okay, so now the deployment's successful, and you can see this Candy Machine, what's it called? Candy Machine public key. This is the address technically of where your Candy Machine lives on the Solana blockchain. So cool. A lot of things that I'm speaking here that you're probably like, I have no idea what he's saying. But if you just keep, watching this video over and over again, or keep working with the Solana blockchain, it'll start to make sense. So this is the public key of the Candy Machine, basically the address of where it lives. And the next thing you can do is add a Candy Guard, right? So this is where you can put the pricing on things, which will make this fun. So what we could do is head over to here, and let's click on one of my tabs on the docs. It's called Sugar for Candy Machine V3. Right, search this up on Google for Metaplex, and you can find the available guards. So if you didn't know, let's go down to here. Guards can be used to define things about our collection. So what I mean by that is we can define a start date and an end date. So notice this end date here. This is going to say like, hey, after December 24, you can't mint any more NFTs. So this is what you need to add to your cache right here. You got to add that to the config. You're going to add the end date right here. Okay. Same thing with, for example, the bot tax. So if you don't know what bot tax means, people utilize bots to buy and mint all the NFTs before normal humans can buy them themselves. So they'll just be sold out and they just resell it for an absorbent amount, right? So this bot tax guard will charge a penalty for invalid transactions. So that's another good thing to have. And I think we can use the default guards right here. So go ahead, go to this part of the screen, copy this guards all the way up to this curly bracket. So I'm gonna say copy. Let's go back to, not that one, to our, Solana Playground. And then highlight up to the guards quotes, paste, and there we go. This is the default example that they have. So what kind of guards do we have, guys? Let's take a look. We have bot tax, right? We have a start date, and we have SOL payment, right? The thing with SOL payment, it doesn't even have to be SOL that we pay with. You can use USDC as well, which is just the US standard dollar coin, essentially. Anyways, for SOL payment, you can say how much each NFT costs. We can say 0.5, right? These are really cheap because they're not real. So they're going to cost 0.5 SOL. The start date is here, right? To 2022, because it's in the past. So that means this is when you can start buying it. If I were to make this date even later, let's say 2024, then you can only mint it when that date comes. Makes sense. So any customizations you want to do at all, go ahead and look at all of these guards and make sure you add them. All right, there's a lot of different things you could do, like token gating, NFT gating you can even do. So let's say you need another NFT to even mint this next set. You could do something like that. So have fun with it, play around, test it, but we're gonna go very basic to get you guys started. So go ahead and write sugar guard add to add all the things you added on the config. So initializing a candy guard, it's wrapping, boom. So now, if you look, I think it's in the cache. The candy guard now has its own public key right here. So this is the PK, or which I'll call it, for the candy guard. Okay. One thing you need to know is this. Go back to your config.json and go back to SOL payment. There's something I forgot to mention. So each NFT that we have is going to cost 0.5 SOL, and the destination, where is that SOL going? You need to set, right? Otherwise, this is a wallet address, another PK. So let's say I open up my Phantom, and I want every person who mints an NFT, they pay 0.5 SOL. I want it to go to somebody. So let's make that go to Kazi, my Kazi wallet here. So what we can do is copy that address and paste it here, right? And actually, let's make this more expensive so it's more visual. Let's say it's cost 1 SOL, all right? So it's gonna cost 1 SOL for each NFT. And now that we updated this, we need to write sugar guard update. So now we're updating the config, and there we go. So now our candy machine should be up to date. The new payment, the new price is 1. The destination for the payment will go to my Kazi wallet. Okay, so we're giving Kazi some money for every NFT we mint. So I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Let's go to the next step now. All right, so we set up our candy machine. Now you might be wondering, if you're new, how do I get some SOL, right? This Kazi wallet already has 6.9 SOL to it. How can I give myself some Solana? So I'm gonna go back to wallet number 1. And in wallet number 1, I have 3 SOL. How do we get more? If you go to a new tab, we go to something called solfaucet.com, right? And there's other stuff like this, but what we could do is get free Solana DevNet tokens to our wallet. So what you have to do is click on your Phantom, copy your wallet address or your wallet PK, paste it, and airdrop 2 SOL to the DevNet, right? And okay, there's an error, but usually this is how you can get Solana for your wallet. Okay, so make sure to do that a couple times. It might have an error if you click it too much, which I just did recently. That's why we got an error. So give it some time. Okay, cool. So now you guys know how to get some Solana. You should have a couple of SOL in your wallet, because remember, each of these costs 1. And now what we need to do is this. All right, go ahead to your cash.json. And what we need is our candy machine address. So go ahead, copy this candy machine address right here. And let's go back to our app, right, which is this, and go to our utils. And in our utils, go to constants. And one thing you have to remember is, remember the candy machine ID. This is where you're gonna put your candy machine ID, right? So mine, the one I copied, and we can just paste it like so. I'm on the FK thing. So save, Control B, and there we go. We have our candy machine ID, and it's exported so that we can use it in just a second. So let's go ahead and set up our candy machine on our front end. All right, so if you made it this far, we are about to set up our candy machine to our front end. So just to recap, we are using something called Metaplex, which makes it easy to make your NFTs and collections, and specifically Candy Machine, which is a tool to set up your assets and to host your collection. Okay, cool. So the first thing that we're gonna need to do after you put your Candy Machine public key here is let's head over to main. Okay, so if we go to our main component, under public, or under pages, and then main, you're gonna notice our app, right? And then if you look at something called NFT display, that's where you're seeing our application right here, right? This is what's showing the NFTs. If you wanna see your own NFTs, this is what you're gonna do. So go to your Solana Playground and remember your cash.json, right? We can take this cash.json and iterate through it and get the image link, right? So what we could do is literally just copy this object right here, hit copy. And to make it easier, let's do something like this. Actually, no, we can make this full screen still. All right, so let's take that object, go back to VS Code, and what we could do is go to where we're getting this data. So if you look at NFT display, under index, we are getting data from sample, right? What we want is data .js, right? So we want to change this stuff. So let's go ahead and change this object with this object. Okay, and if we hit save, it's not going to change right away, right? Because we have to change this later on. But let's go ahead and add the rest of the objects. So I'm going to get the next one, which is this right here. You're gonna get the next one. And the last one is the collection, but we don't need that because we're not displaying that picture right there. Cool, so we got all of those and updated our data.js, and now we can go to their NFT display. And instead of sample, we need data. So now when I hit save, take a look. We go back to Solana Monkey Business, and there it is. There are our NFTs, all 3 of them. They look really cool, like so. So these are our SMBs. Let's hit connect, and we're connected. And now we just need to know how to mint them and how much NFTs do we have. Like, well, I want to see how much are remaining, how many are minted, and how much do they each cost, right? Don't you want to see that? So we're going to set that up right now. Okay, first step that you need to do, you need to head over to your main component once again. So pages, main, and here we go. Now that you're here, we need to import a couple different things. So what we want to import is something like this. We're going to import a lot of things from Metaplex. So we can say from at Metaplex Foundation.js. Because remember, we're using Metaplex as our tool to make this easier, right? So what we want to get from Metaplex is a guest identity. We want to get Metaplex itself, Metaplex. We also want to get a wallet adapter identity. And we're going to use pretty much all of the things that we're importing right here. Okay, and while we're here, let's import a couple different things that will make sense later. Kind of like how we did last time. So let's import, let's see, object lamports per soul. So if you didn't know, lamports is like a smaller unit of soul. All right, so think of it like $1. If you break up $1, you get cents. A bunch of lamports makes 1 soul. So let's get lamports per soul. And we also want to import a couple things from Solana wallet adapter again. So let's get use Anchor wallet tab. There we go. And there's a use connection, I believe. So use connection. Okay, cool. And we also want to be using our Candy Machine ID. So let's go ahead and import that. So say import Candy Machine ID from utils. Okay, nice. And there's our styles, and we can set up a state. So we already imported use state, so we're good to go. So let's make one. So this one's gonna be a state for our Metaplex. So we can say equals use state, use state. And our state is going to be Metaplex, comma, set Metaplex. Okay, cool. And you can set the default initial state to nothing for now, because what we're gonna do is set up our Metaplex, right? So how do we set up Metaplex, guys? Well, the first thing you want to do is let's get some connections ready for later as well. Let's get const connection from use connection, not from, you want to say equals, because it's a hook use connection. And you also want to get const wallet from use Anchor wallet. Cool. So store this in a variable. Awesome. All right, so back to what I was saying about the use effect. So let's make a use effect. You can say use effect, like so. Arrow function, and we're already set up. So in this use effect, all I want to do is set Metaplex. Okay, but now here's the part. How do we set up Metaplex inside this state, right? We're changing this state from nothing to something, right? So what I want to change it to is Metaplex, right? Where are we getting this? We are getting this from our import. And there's some built-in functions or methods here. One of them is .make. Okay, so .make, and we pass in a connection. So we say connection, and then we say .use parentheses. And what the connection we want to use, well, wallets, well, we want to say some conditional rendering. So if wallet exists, use the wallet adapter identity, right from here. Come back down and pass in the wallet inside the identity. If not, we'll use the guest identity. Okay, and that's gonna be our Metaplex, right? So if I were to console log Metaplex, let's see what we get. Oops. Here is our Metaplex. Oops, not that. Okay, so let's refresh this. Let's see what comes up. Oh, is this even running? Okay, it's running. Okay, inspect console. Awesome, so it loaded a couple times, that's fine. Yeah, it's constantly re-rendering. And the reason why it's re-rendering, right, is because we did not put a dependency module here. So this needs a dependency module, and we can make it depend on the connection and the wallet. So it will only render once or when the connection or wallet is changed. So now you won't see the infinite render. So let's refresh it. Cool. So it's like live debugging right here. Awesome. Cool. So, yep, we should only see it twice because we're about to see it another time when we connect. Cool. So this is our connection, Metaplex. And when I open that Metaplex object, you can see auction house, candy machines v2, right? You can do .rpc. We can do .storage. So there's a lot of different things you can do with Candy Machine, but I'll show you guys what we want specifically. So we're going to use Metaplex for something else, right? So we don't need that. So let's go ahead and erase. And let's set up one more use effect, right? So we set our Metaplex object here, and then now let's use that Metaplex object to get what we want. So what I want to do is set up my state, right, for my candy machine and update it every few seconds, right? So how can I set up my state and update it without calling the function over and over again, right? This is where use effect comes in. So let's make another one. So let's say use effect, arrow, cool. So in my use effect, all right, we can set up some edge cases, I like to call it. So if we say if Metaplex return, right, what does this mean? It just basically means if there's no Metaplex, right, if this doesn't work for whatever reason, then this isn't going to run. We're just going to return, right? Just leave because there's no Metaplex. Okay, that's called an edge case. So if that's the case, that's fine. But now, what do we want to do? We want to set up my state and update. All right, so let's call it update. So I'll say const update state. Or this is me making a function. And we'll put in a function like so. And it's important that this is asynchronous. So make it asynchronous. And once you make it asynchronous, go inside between the curly brackets and let's set up a try catch. Okay? Because it wants you to essentially do a promise and try whatever I write in here. If it fails for whatever reason, it's gonna hit this catch. So let's set up the catch. It's pretty simple. We can do an E like that, and then we can say console.log E, right? Cool. And then we can even say toast.error, right? If you don't know what toast is, it's basically notifications that are built in using a packages, and you can say something went wrong. Yeah, error has occurred. So you should see a little pop-up automatically, thanks to toast, that an error has occurred if any of these things fail right here. Okay, now we want to set up a couple different states when we update state, right? We gotta tell them what states are we updating, right? So what states are we updating? That's a great question. We're gonna go up here and we're gonna make a couple of things. We can say const candy state. All right, this is the state of my candy machine. Set candy state. Set that equal to use state. Okay. Set up another one. This one's gonna be called candy state error, right? So we can put we take the error and put it inside a nice error message and display that on our front end. Error, candy set, candy state is equal to use state. Awesome. So if anything goes wrong, we'll be able to display it. We can also say a loading state, const candy state loading, and set candy state loading, and set this to true by default. And then we could do transaction error as well. So we could say tx error. These last few are optional, but it's good to have if you want to play with it. So error equals use state. I feel like there's something in my throat. Anyways, let's keep it going. Let's do a tx loading and set tx loading. All right, so you can have a nice loading screen if you utilize this as well. But we're just gonna have a message that says something. And this one by default is false. Cool. All right. Last but not least, we also want to set our NFTs. So const NFTs, and we're only really going to use set NFTs here. Okay. Set this to an empty array. Cool. So that should be all our states. So now to our function. So go back to your update state function, and we're going to start writing into the try. So inside the try, we're going to say const state, right? It's a variable, is equal to await, right? We're going to wait till we run this command right here, whatever it is. So this variable is equal to await metaplex. So we're using metaplex. And if you remember, metaplex has metaplex candy machines, right? We're going to use that. So we're going to use metaplex. And then I'm just going to format it right here. Dot candy machines, right? And then you can do another dot, which we're chaining it. Dot find by address, I believe. By address. Okay. And what is the address of our candy machine, right? And we can pull it up like so. So make an object in here and say address, the key, and the value is our candy machine ID. So put that in there, boys and girls. We can say candy machine ID. Okay, so what's happening here? We are trying to set up our state. We are getting metaplex, getting the candy machines, finding the specific one with this address. Make sense? Cool. So now, if that makes sense to you, we can set this state. Because now, after this is done, if it's successful, we have a state pair. We can say state here. If it fails, it's going to go into the error and tell us what went wrong. So now we can say state after this line. But what we need to do next is set our state. So we can say set candy state. That's what we made that earlier for. And pass in state. Okay. Now, what is state, right? So let's console log it. State. This is our state. Our candy state specifically. So let's save that. Oh, state is not defined. Sorry, it should be candy state. Let's see, can we get it? Cannot read properties of null. So we're into our first error. So it's undefined. This is our state, which means there's an error somewhere. Cannot read properties of null, reading query. Let's go back to our code. Okay, still says undefined. So let me just check here. Oh, I know why. See how this update state is grayed out? It's because we forgot to freaking call it, right? So this is us creating the function, but we never called the function. So let's go ahead and call the function update state. And we also should put a dependency module so it doesn't keep rerunning over and over again. So let's save. Now, there it is. We got it. So now we have our candy machine state, right? So if you see this object, this model right here, and all of our information is here. So look at items. Do you see this, guys? Items. So if I do console log candy state, let me just put some space between here. Candy state dot items. All right, let's see what happens. Look at that. We see an array of 3 things. Where have we seen that before? All right, we have the first index of our SMB number 10 and the URI. So this is our access to our NFTs. So we need this. Okay. So what we can do now, all right, is set our NFTs. So now that you know what this is, all right, let's fix our update state and add some more things. So we have set candy state. We can also do set NFTs, right? And then we can set it to state.items, right? And we can also set candy state error to null, right? Because if it's in our try, if it made it this far, there shouldn't be any error. Oops, there we go. Awesome. So hit save. And we can also add a finally here, right? And if it finally loads, we can set candy loading state to true, or to false, sorry, because it's not loading anymore. Okay, cool. So I think it's true by default. Yeah, so this is true by default, but now we can set it to false. Right, it's our flag that's done loading. And if we do toast.success, we can say updated state. All right, cool. And remember I said how I want it to update it every few seconds. All right, so what we could do is set up something like this. So let's put Metaplex here. So it's only going to run once and whenever Metaplex changes for whatever reason. And also we can say refresh state every, state every 30 seconds. Okay, so we can say const interval ID is equal to set interval. And in that set interval, we can have a function that every interval update the state. This is what we want to run. And put a comma here for how long you want it to run. And if I say 30_000, that should be 30 seconds on the timer. Okay? And then from here, we can say return. We want to clear this interval. And by doing a clear interval, and then we could do interval ID. So that's how you clear it. And yeah, we can do, oh, sorry, to return the function itself. Cool. So like I said, if you want to do anything with the NFTs at all right, you can say NFTs and that's your array of NFTs, right? So we don't have to do anything with that specifically. What we want to do next is set up our, what's it called? And if you saw the demo, you saw how many NFTs were remaining. We want to do that. I want to show our sold out stuff. So let's do that. Say const sold out. And sold out is just going to let us know if all of the NFTs are sold out. And this is going to equal candy state, right? If it exists, that's what this question mark is for. Dot items remaining dot EQN 0, right? So remember how we had candy state dot items? We can also do candy state dot items remaining and dot EQN is equal. So if the items remaining is equal to 0, this is going to return true. If it's not, it's going to return false. So that's what we're setting up here. I think I spelled it correctly. And after that, we can do const sol amount, right? We can have a variable that tells us how much each of our NFTs cost. And if you remember, how much does it cost? Just one, uno. All right, so candy state, again, question mark. And question mark, if I don't put this question mark here, it's gonna say dot undefined, right? Because it's not gonna know what question mark is. So if this exists, candy guard, which if there is a candy guard, again, so that's why I put in question mark, dot guards, all right, question mark, if it's there, dot sol payment, right? So if you look carefully, it's looking into our candy guards and specifically checking the sol payment. And that's going to return to us a number that we want, right? So if that exists, if there is a sol payment, then show me that. Show me the payment. Candy state dot candy guards, dot guards dot sol payment dot lamports, right? Now we got to convert it. Dot to number. Yeah, so maybe I have to press enter for this one. Enter, so I can look at it like that. Dot to number. All right, so let's just break that down. So I'm looking at my candy state, looking into the guards, looking into the sol payment, which should be 1. And it's gonna give us, it only shows us in lamports, right? Remember the smaller unit of sol. And then put it to number, right? So we can have it something readable for us. Divided by lamports per sol. And that should give us the right amount. And then if you can say or, no. Okay? So this is either going to give us another state, essentially. Cool, and add this semicolon here. Add that semicolon there, and you should be good to go. Okay, so that's our sol amount, our sold out. Okay. Something off about this. It shouldn't be. Oh, sorry guys. This should be question mark dot candy guard. And now we shouldn't see an error. Okay, cool. Yep, it should be grayed out like so. If you did that, you're good to go. Now the next part is we want to put our candy machine states here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so if you're here, we're going to set up our candy machine states and set up a lot of conditional running. So be prepared. So the first thing that I want you guys to look at is this. Set up curly brackets like so. And you're just gonna write loading, right? The candy state loading. Okay, so this is our loading state. Remember, if we scroll up, candy state loading is set to true, which means something is loading, right? And if we say conditional rendering here, like this question mark, what that means is we want something else to load. So if candy state loading is true, then load this HTML, which is going to be just a div. Let's get the closing div in there, and it's just going to say loading. All right. If it goes well, you'd only see this for a second. If it takes long, you're going to see this loading text for a while. All right. So what you want to do after this is colon, because this is the else part of a conditional, of a ternary operator. So we can say candy state error, right? Because if it's not loading, there's a candy state error. So if that's true, we can set up another conditional rendering. Do you see why this is kind of confusing? So if candy state loading is true, load this div. If not, load this ternary statement. All right, so what's this ternary statement? If candy state error is true, then load this div. And this div is just gonna have the candy state error that we have. Cool, so when do we see this div? If candy state error is true. Okay, what if it's not true? What if there is no candy state error? Then we should see the whole thing, right? So we should see the candy state then, because there's no error. And so two things have to be true: candy state and this. So we're gonna see two things. Now we can have a div here, closing div. And this is where the majority of our text is going to be. So we can say another div here. And in this div, we can say total items, right? Because I want to tell you guys how many items do we have in our NFT collection. So what we can write is a variable here by saying some JSX. So we can say candy state again. And how do I see the total amount of available items? You're just going to do dot, and it's write items available, because we did items remaining before. We can do items available dot to string so that we can read it. Okay, let's hit save. Look at that. So if everything works successfully, we see total items is 3, and there is 3 NFTs here, as you can see. So that's good. Total items is 3. All right, but there's more. What if I want to see the total minted items? Okay, how would we do that? So let me close that div. Well, you would get your candy state again. So candy state, right? But now how do we get it? You do dot items minted. And you might be wondering, Lance, how did you know all this? Well, if you just console log candy state, take a look in the console and see all the different things you can do. Just test it, or read the documentation, or follow this tutorial. Right? A lot of different options, different ways to learn. Do dot to string, so it's in a nice format that it can read. So let's save this. Minted items, 0. So this makes sense, right? Because how many times did we mint an NFT? 0, right? Unless you skipped ahead, then you were cheating. So back to this, we could do div, and we could go closing div. Awesome. And in between this, what do we want to do next? We want to do remaining items. So this one should be familiar. We have to do candy state dot items remaining, right? It's pretty obvious. Dot to string. Cool. And there's total items 3, minted items 0, remaining items 3. There you go. Cool. So we close that div off, And is there anything else that we should do? Yeah, there's a couple of different things. One thing I want to do is let's talk about the sol amount. All right, so if there is a sol amount, if there's not, then it's not going to show up. Then we can say div closing div. You can show the cost here. You can say the cost is this sol amount space sol. Yeah, cost 1 sol. There you go. And how did I know it was 1? Because in our Solana candy machine, it has access to all this information. Okay, cool. So cost 1 sol. All right, it's going to change depending on what you put here. The next one, we can put the TX error. So if any point you get an error, we can set up this div. So we could say TX error and div closing div. And we're just going to write TX error. So if anything goes wrong with the transaction, we're making use of this state right here. Right, we're not setting anything just yet, but when we make the mint function. Okay, next, div, closing div. All right, this div, this one's for the mint button. So I just made a div. I'm gonna give it a class name actually, class name, and we're gonna use styles. Oops, styles dot button container, because this is going to contain our mint button, and you just have to say button like so, and give this a class name styles dot mint button. Okay, and under that we can give it a couple things. So on this button itself, it has to have an on click, which we'll do it in a sec, because it doesn't have it just yet. But actually just write mint for now. Oh, I just remembered something. So let's start mint for now, right? Cool. So this is good. You can even leave it just as this. It just says mint, and if we click it, it should allow us to mint an NFT. But what if all your NFTs are sold out? We can turn this mint button into a sold out sign, right? We can do that by erasing mint, putting curly brackets, and we use our sold out variable. And if that is true, if sold out is true, right? Remember we made that variable to check. So if items remaining is equal to 0, if that's true, then it's gonna say sold out, right? And then, or TX loading. If loading is true, then put loading, right? Our button will say loading if the transaction is loading. Otherwise, if it's not sold out and if it's not loading, show me the mint button, which it should when I switch here. There you go. Same thing, but getting a lot of functionality out of just condition. So that's why we set it up way back when. Cool. So now we have a dynamic mint button, and from there, that's pretty much it. So we just need the functionality to mint these NFTs. So let's go ahead and work on that. All right, so we are in the home stretch now. Let's learn how to mint NFTs. When I click this button, the first thing that you want to do is let's make the mint function. So scroll up to all the way here, right before the sold, above the sold amounts, and let's go ahead and make a mint function. So let's just say const mint is equal to async anonymous function. The reason why I'm making this asynchronous is because we need to make a call to Metaplex to mint this specific NFT. So let's go ahead and do our edge case. So remember what our edge case is, guys? It's if Metaplex does not exist, then we just return. Right, and you should spell Metaplex correctly. Boom. So if Metaplex doesn't exist, return. In the meantime, we're gonna set TX loading to true, because during this time of minting, this should be true. And we can also set TX error to null for now, right? Cool. So once you do that, now for the actual functionality, we'll do a try catch again. And I'll set up my catch. And if there is any sort of error, we can just console log it. So let's just console log E, and we can do a toast.error and just say mint failed, right? And you also want to set up our, like show our error by saying set tx error to e.message, I believe. Yeah, e.message. Cool. So that means if you go back to here, it'll show us underneath the sol the transaction error that happened. So, I mean, hopefully we don't see it, but if we need to, like debug, I'm glad it's going to be there. Okay, and in this try catch, we want to say const mint result. It's a variable that is equal to weight, and here comes Metaplex again, metaplex.candy machine. Candy machine s parentheses dot mint. So candy machine has its own mint function. You don't have to create it from scratch. And if you put parentheses, curly bracket like so, inside here, you have to put some properties. So you can say candy machine colon object, and then address colon candy state.address. So that's how you get the address of the candy machine, candy state.address. The next thing you want is the collection mint address. Oh, and don't forget to put a comma here. And for that, you need candy state, candy state again, and say dot collection mint address. All right? So you can see the pattern here. So you can say the candy guard is candy state dot, can you guess it? Candy guard. Put comma here, and that's actually it. We do need to put a comma here and then say collection update authority. Make sure you spell it right, and say candy state dot authority address. Candy state authority address. Okay, comma there, and then the last part is group is no. Cool. All right, that looks good to me. We can also console log the mint result. Mint result in an object. And we can also say toast.success. Well, we don't have to say toast.success here. We can actually say finally and then do the toast.success. So what we could do in the finally is set tx loading back to false, because now it's done loading. And we can also do a toast.success here and say minted NFT. So let's save that. And now we made the function. We got to call the function down below. So if we scroll down, where is our button? We can add the onClick now. So we can say onClick equals object, and then write mint for the mint function. So when we click it, the mint function will run. We also want to disable this button. And when do you want to disable it? Well, I only want to disable it when there's no wallet, or let me zoom out for a second, or if the TX is loading, right? So we can't just spam the mint button. We can also make it disabled when it's sold out. So when we have the sold out sign, you can't really click on it. It's kind of just there. So it's disabled during that. And with that, cross our fingers, hopefully this works. So let's switch to the main app. Okay, we're in the main app. Select wallet, Phantom. Are we connected? Oh, enter my password. Boom. Okay, so now we connect. Updated state. Let's hit mint. Loading. Let's go approve transaction. So remember two things. My Kazi wallet is getting the money. So you had 6 SOL. So after we lose 1 SOL, Kazi should have 7 if this works properly. So let's hit approve. Let's go! Minted an NFT! We did it, boys and girls. And if you look, remaining items is still 3. But remember our timer, every 30 seconds, it's going to say updated state. And now look at that. Total items 3 still. Minted items 1. Remaining items 2. And the cost is still 1 SOL. So there you go. We successfully minted an NFT But we're not done yet, because if you click Phantom, you go to your wallet. Let's check on Kazi. So if I go to Kazi, he has 7 souls. So that means I just minted an NFT and somebody profited. Kazi got 1 extra soul from me. And for our troubles, if you go back to your wallet, wallet number 1, click on these 4 squares right here. You can see my old crab collection. But look at this. We got Solana Monkey Business 1001 in our collection with the description we wrote and the properties that we wrote too. So this is it. This is a real NFT in your wallet. If you made it to this point in the video, hopefully you can make your own NFT collection that you could put out there. Hey, and maybe you can make tons of Solana with this. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know, drop the comment down below if you want to see a more detailed release, like a delayed reveal, and just drop in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.